Hello, hi, hello, hi. To you, it's a new week, and this is Good Afternoon Ghana, and you are welcome. My name is Helen Anyeweja. Coming up this afternoon. Accra High Court sentences Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entry Wosiakon, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, to 20 years imprisonment over illegal mining activities on the Sambri Boy concession in the Western region. Also coming up, calls heighten for President Mahama to withhold his assent to the tribunal bill. The latest opposition comes from NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Two Ghanaians petition International Criminal Court over recurring xenophobic attacks in South Africa that resulted in deaths and assaults and displacements of foreign nationals. All of this coming up now. Please stay with us. Keeping us company, my name again is Helen, and we start from here. Bernard Entry Wosiakon, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, has been sentenced to 20 years in prison, and all his assets at the Galamsey site confiscated by the state. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party was found guilty in the case involving illegal mining activities on a Akonta Mining Company Limited concession at the Sambri Boy in the Western region. He was convicted on these counts. Count 1, assignments of mineral rights without ministerial approval, guilty. Count 4, purposely facilitating the contravention of the act, guilty. Count 3, third accused, assignment of mineral rights without ministerial approval, also guilty. Now count 6, A3, purposely facilitating the contravention of the act, that is illegal mining activity. He's also guilty of that. Now my colleague, Eko Sechi Saki, joins me live from the court. Good afternoon to you, Eko.
And I'm sure that some would say justice has been done, others would say justice has not been done. Let's start from there.
Justice is relative. I mean,
yes,
as to whether justice has been done or not, it's relative. It's relative. For me, the court has given its decision. It's left with Mr. Wontumi's lawyers to decide as to what to do next. The only thing I did in court was to plead for Mr. Wontumi in terms of the sentencing. And it is not because it's Mr. Wontumi. It's a very ordinary thing we all do in court, where if you believe that as a friend of the court, you need to put in 1 or 2 for an accused person, we do it. And we do it not because we don't believe in the sentencing, we don't believe in the conviction, or we have issues with the conviction. As for the conviction, yes, it was all done, but it was the sentencing. So you remember what I said was that since the court itself has established that Mr. Wontumi is the directing minds for most of his businesses, so it means that if the court keeps him in incarceration for long, his businesses are going to be affected. So the court should consider the fact that he's a businessman and he employs a lot of people directly and indirectly. So it was to the youth unemployment that could come as a result of his being away from his business. businesses. That was the only thing. I was just appealing to the mind of the judge.
Are you in any way related to Mr. Wontumi?
No, I am not.
Do you have any business dealing with Mr. Wontumi?
My name is Bernard, so probably just by name, but I have no business with him. I had just come to court to listen, but I was just moved.
So this was just an officer of the court doing the job?
It is pure out of courtroom practice, where any person could get up as a friend of the court and put in some words in mitigation for an accused person who has been convicted. So it's not because I have any personal relationship with Sam Wontumi, and I'm not his lawyer on record. It was just out of normal court practice I did that.
That so you rose to your feet to try to
appeal to the emotions and the conscience of the judge. To just tamper justice with me. So I was hoping for the barest minimum of punishment.
But what do you think? What do you think going forward? Should the lawyers go on appeal on this matter? What would that barest minimum be for you?
What I think don't matter now, because I'm not a lawyer on record for Mr. Wontumi. I only did what a lot of lawyers do in court, that we try to intervene for an accused person who has been convicted. That is what I did.
So what is the barest minimum?
The law. As to what I expected the court to do, it is by law 15 years. So if the judge had given him the minimum, I would have been happy. But for all those things we had said, maybe he was going to get something. I don't know. I'm not in the mind of the judge, I feel that what we did, myself and the other lawyer, is very ordinary in the ways courts.
And that was Bernard Reid, who tried to appeal for reduced sentence for Wontumi. Now let's move away from that. The flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has questioned the government against using its majority in Parliament as a basis for passing every piece of legislation before the House. Now, Dr. Bawumia said although the government commands one of the largest parliamentary majorities in the history of Ghana's Fourth Republic, such members must not come with a great responsibility to exercise restraint. His comments come amid debate over the passage of the tribunal's bill, which has attracted criticism from opposition figures and some civil society groups.
Parliament passed the Tribunal's Bill 2026. The mandatory one-day interval between the consideration stage and the third reading was waived so that the bill could be passed on the same day. The minority's objections were voted down. Organized labor objected loudly and publicly, but was ignored. The bill will soon be transmitted to the President for his assent. I have one respectful request of President Mahama. Mr. President, do not assent to this bill. Pause and let the nation ponder and deliberate on this very important matter. Above all, Mr. President, reflect on the historical antecedents of the public tribunal system. Under this bill, panels that include persons who are not lawyers may sit in judgment over criminal matters. Ghanaians remember tribunals, and we remember what was done in their name. Our courts are congested, yes, but the answer to congested courts is to strengthen the courts, more judges, more courtrooms, and digitized processes. It is not to build a second system of justice. Mr. President, your government commands one of the largest majorities in the history of the Fourth Republic. With such numbers, Parliament can pass almost any bill it wishes. My call is therefore simple and constructive. Withhold your assent. Convene genuine national engagement. Invite the Ghana Bar Association and other lawyers groups, organized labor, civil society, and the political parties, including my own. We will come in good faith and consult the judiciary itself, the institution that must live with whatever Parliament creates.
Parliament on Friday, 17th July 2026, passed the Tribunals Bill 2026, one which had sparked national debate, with critics warning it could undermine Ghana's justice delivery system and weaken the independence of the regular courts. Speaking on Good Morning Ghana, Press Secretary and spokesperson to the Vice President of Ghana, Mamia Maprat, and NPP Communications team member Laratu Musa Saka shared their thoughts on the passage of the bill.
It's simply to get technical expert input into judicial decisions. That's what it is. That's what Clause 4 is about, right? Because if there are very technical issues to be handled, which is the whole point of this bill, right, is to handle specialized cases to do with galamsey, cases to do with tax evasion, cases to do with, fraud, causing financial loss to the state. These are very specialized, very technical fields, So if the import of the Clause 4 is to get the technicians in there, so it's not just the judiciary looking at the facts presented to it, facts that might be compelling based on the person giving it. You don't have institutional knowledge, you don't have institutional, understanding, you don't understand the backstory, of this technicality. I mean, I find it prudent that we are opening the doors to the people who know to come in and help with the decision making. I would have thought that that's actually a plus, for the bill.
Dr. Bawumia sought to amplify the voices of Ghanaians.
Right.
Let's be clear on that. It's no anxiety from us. It's not me trying to find faults. I must say it's important to have a broader consultation. If the government had listened to TUC, if they had listened to GBA, I don't think Dr. Bawumia would have come out to amplify what they were saying. It's because they were ignored. And these are the people these things affect. And let's also have it on record that Dr. Bawumia is not seeking to stampede anything. He's amplifying the voices of Ghanaians. And we know what the TUC stands for. We know what the Ghana Bar Association stands for. They are part of the Judicial Council. So if these people are talking, and a man who has the interest of Ghana at heart and seeks and aspires to lead this country again, he will not sit aside and let the chaos happen and assume that he'll come and fix it.
Now, away from that, the Coalition Against Galamsey has accused the government of practicing selective enforcement in its fight against illegal mining, alleging that politically connected individuals are being shielded while others face prosecution. Speaking at a press briefing on Thursday, Coalition member Kwejoche Yamwa said the credibility of current anti-Galamsey operations is in doubt, and this is because enforcement is not applied equally.
Very much. I think the two questions linked together. Now, yes, we believe there is some sort of selective justice and selective enforcement, and which should not be. Already we are aware that His Excellency the President himself has indicated that there is high suspicion that members of his own party are engaged in this galamsey. And there have also been names mentioned of people who are in the current government, either as policymakers and others, or within the party, who are suspected to be financiers and campaigns of this illegal mining galamsey. We want to ensure that we tackle this issue comprehensively. And that is why our point on addressing this point, we have stressed that we need to investigate all other campaigns and financiers who are perceived, who have been mentioned, including those in this current government or in the ruling party, to serve as a yard or a yardstick for others to know that it is a comprehensive enforcement. Without that, it becomes very difficult for those of us observing to believe that we are fully enforcing the law without being selective. So it's very, very important. You see, one of the reasons why it's very important is that for galamsey to go on, there is need for flow of money to ensure that bribes are paid, to get excavators to go to the field, to fuel the excavators, to pay the boys daily. When those finances begin to flow, continue to flow, it is very difficult to stop. You can go to the pit, arrest the boys. The next time, the financiers can recruit many others to come. So that is one of the reasons why a lot of the arrests of these boys in the pit does not solve the issue. Tomorrow, you see others. And some of these financiers go to the extent of buying guns and other ammunition for these Galamsey boys, and then they also find a way to encourage them to be resistive. That is why we have seen in quote the level of recalcitrant behavior for this Galamsey and by these guys. And we need to ensure that we tackle it from the source, grab those who are supportive, the campaigns, the financiers, and we believe that when we do that, it is cutting the head of the snake. The rest of it is rope. So it is a major issue that we need to look at.
Now let's turn attention to education as the Minister for Education has announced a major expansion of Ghana's inclusive education agenda, revealing that government has allocated millions of cedis through the GET Fund to provide free education for learners with special needs and disabilities in special schools. Delivering his address to the nation, the Minister said the funding will support the implementation of the newly launched comprehensive inclusive education policy, the procurement of assistive devices, and the rehabilitation of selected special schools across the country.
Comprehensive Inclusive Education Policy was launched on 7 July 2026 to provide completely free education for learners with special needs and disability in special schools. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to spend some time on this. When the GET Fund Amendment Act was presented before Parliament, it was to amend the GET Fund Act, one, to dedicate the financing of free senior high school, its feeding, to GET Fund. The second was also to dedicate fees for persons with disability to GET Fund. In that amendment was an amendment for GET Fund to annually provide for the provision of free education for persons with special needs, to keep in tandem with our pledge as a government to promote inclusive, equitable education. Accordingly, GET Fund has allocated an amount of 100 million Ghana cedis to support the implementation of the free education for persons with special needs. For the first time in many years, assistive devices will be procured to support learners with difficulties across the country. Whilst we would also prepare to do some rehabilitation work of the School for the Blind in Akropong, School for the Deaf in Savlugu, and then the other, sorry, I withdraw the word dead, sorry. Then the other one in the Upper West region. We have also, as a government, increased the feeding grants for students with special needs from 8 cedis to 15 cedis. And we have walked the talk on this matter. And we are developing mathematics curriculum for learners with visual impairment and develop a standardized Ghanaian Sign Language curriculum for hearing impaired learners in the country.
Security now, as President John Dramani Mahama has commended the Ghana Police Service for helping maintain Ghana's reputation as one of Africa's safest countries, calling on citizens to support the police and credible information to help combat crime. The president noted that Ghana's peace and security remain among the country's greatest strength, attracting investors and making the nation one of the safest destinations in Africa. President Mahama made the remarks during the commissioning of the Akachi North District Police Headquarters at the Alvedakba in the Volta region.
Addressing the chiefs and people of the Akachi North District, President John Dramani Mahama commissioned the district police headquarters, one of the legacy projects that had remained abandoned since he left office in 2016. He urged residents to work closely with the police by voluntarily providing credible and timely information to help fight crime, including armed robbery, drug trafficking, and other criminal activities within their communities.
The police are our partners in security. The police cannot do it alone unless the community supports them. And so if you live in a community and somebody is selling drugs, is selling tramadol to your children, it is your duty to go and tell the police this person is a drug distributor, so that they can deal with him and save your children from addiction. And so we must support the police by providing them with information so that they can do their jobs properly.
President Mahama also reminded police officers to remain professional in the discharge of their duties, stressing that they must use only reasonable force as permitted by law.
The police will act with professionalism, and they should treat the people of Ghana as citizens of Ghana. Their mandates and the reason why we give them the weapons and all the instruments for policing is for them to use it to protect us.
The Volta Regional Minister James Gunu praised the NDC government led by President Mahama for allocating resources to complete both legacy and new development projects across the Volta region.
Until you came back to revive the development of the region and Akachi North. And you've made provision, adequate provision, for legacy projects, and out of that, this project has been completed, and today we are here to hand it over to the Ghana Police Service.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama has joined fellow West African leaders in Sierra Leone for the 69th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of States and Governments. The summit, which marks the climax of the ECOWAS mid-year statutory meetings, brought together heads of states and governments from across the sub-region to discuss the ways of strengthening regional integration, promoting peace and security, and deepening economic cooperation. Ahead of the official opening of the summit, President Mahama participated in a ceremonial tree planting exercise along other leaders. He also joined the commissioning of the Julius Maada Bio International Conference Center in Lunje, the venue for the high-level meeting. Today's Regis now, as the former member of parliament for Fantiakwa South, Otri Ejekum, has officially joined the race for the position of the first vice chairman, as 27 aspirants successfully filed their nominations to contest various positions in the New Patriotic Party's Eastern Regional Executive elections slated for August 9. The elections form part of the NPP's nationwide internal reorganization to elect new regional executives who will steer the affairs of the party over the next 4 years.
The nomination process attracted former public office holders, incumbent regional executives seeking re-election or new positions, as well as new entrants hoping to lead the party in the Eastern region ahead of the 2028 general elections. Among the notable aspirants is former Fantiakwa South MP Otri Ejekum, who is contesting for the position of first vice chairman. Speaking to the media on behalf of the Eastern Regional Elections Committee, The head of Electoral Affairs, David Park, confirmed that a total of 27 nominations had been received for the various positions. He described the nomination process as smooth, transparent and peaceful, expressing satisfaction with the conduct of aspirants and party members.
We have scheduled, on behalf of the committee, we've scheduled Monday and Tuesday, next Monday and Tuesday, as the period for vetting. And so we believe that all of us will join hands to support the new patriotic parties' reorganizational processes. That's going to see the party recapturing power, if God permit, 2028.
The contest for the regional chairman position is expected to be one of the most keenly watched races, with incumbent chairman Jeff Kunedu-Addo seeking another term against Kwadwo Boateng Agyemang, who also challenged him in the previous regional elections. Another closely contested race is expected in the regional organizer election, where Jerry Osei Poku faces a challenge from the party's current regional youth organizer, Ademu Raha.
Everybody knows where I stand. I am a unified, and I'm prepared to unite the people together with the team that will be elected with me to chart a common cause and to chart a cause of unity, bring all people who have stepped back, people who are disenchanted on board, for us to continue to consolidate our gains in Eastern Region.
For the position of Regional Secretary, Berima Iwesi Edulabi has also entered the contest.
It is my wish that if I become the secretary, I'll make sure that I mobilize and unite all my people.
Meanwhile, some positions remain uncontested, with the incumbent Regional Communications Director and the incumbent Second Vice Chairman filing their nominations unopposed to retain their respective offices. Several other incumbent regional executives have also filed nominations either to maintain their current positions or seek election into different offices, setting the stage for a competitive regional delegates conference. Some aspirants, after filing their nominations, expressed confidence in securing the mandate of delegates.
All that I'm saying is that we are in opposition. We've been given a duty to perform. We have performed it creditably. We have really performed creditably. And for that matter, we are telling delegates, they are witnesses to a lot of things that we did. So they should give us a nod again to continue.
Let's do some social stories now, as Ghana has secured the lifting of Burkina Faso's restriction on egg imports from the country, paving the way for the resumption of exports and strengthening trade relations between the two neighboring countries on Friday, 17 July. The breakthrough follows the high-level bilateral talks in Ouagadougou led by Trade Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejari and Agricultural Minister Eric Opoku. The discussions also resulted in Burkina Faso reopening the exports of tomatoes to Ghana. The restrictions had been imposed as a precaution over quality concerns affecting some egg exports, particularly from the Doma area. However, both governments have now agreed to establish a joint technical committee to swiftly address future trade issues and are working towards a bilateral trade agreement to improve market access and reduce trade barriers. The government says the agreement protects the interests of Ghanaian traders and producers. Away from that, the Fisheries Commission, in partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, has launched a new initiative to strengthen Ghana's fisheries nutrition data. The project is expected to support evidence-based policies aimed at improving food security and nutrition across the country.
From government, development partners, and the fisheries sector gathered in Accra for the inception workshop of the project dubbed Enhancing National Fisheries Nutrition Data for Evidence-Based Food Security and Nutrition Policies. The initiative seeks to improve the collection and use of reliable fisheries nutrition data while establishing a roadmap for implementation through collaboration among key institutions.
Fish remains the country's most affordable and accessible source of high-quality animal protein. The nutritional value of fisheries resources has often been underrepresented in national food security and nutrition planning. This has largely been due to limited availability of comprehensive, reliable, and harmonious nutritional data on fish and fishery products.
Officials say the project aligns with Ghana's commitment to achieving food and nutrition security and supports the Sustainable Development Goal of ending hunger through improved nutrition and sustainable agriculture. The UN's FAO and the Fisheries Commission believes credible data will play a critical role in developing policies that improve public health and productivity.
Data, when it is credible, can be used for everything. As a country, therefore, there is the need to have good data regarding food nutrition in order to come up with good policies.
The Food and Agriculture Organization also reaffirmed its commitment to supporting Ghana's efforts, emphasizing that stronger data systems will result in better decisions for communities, the fisheries sector, and the environment.
At FAO, we believe that better data leads to better decisions and better outcomes. Through this project, we are investing in knowledge and evidence that would help strengthen nutrition, improve livelihoods, support sustainable fishery management, and contribute to national development. On behalf of FAO, I reaffirm our commitment to supporting the government of Ghana in achieving sustainable fisheries development, improved food security, and better nutrition outcome.
The workshop also inaugurated a technical working group to oversee implementation of the project. Participants ended the workshop with a commitment to strengthen partnerships and generate credible fisheries nutrition data to support national food security strategies and evidence-based policy making. Shadrach Odame Ejare, Metro News, Accra.
Now, more than half of Ghana's metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies have the first time met the national benchmark for public financial management compliance. According to the 2025 Public Financial Management Compliance League table, this came to light at the third edition of the report, which provides both national and regional rankings of the 261 MMDAs.
Third edition of the assessment launched by the Center for Local Governance Advocacy that the national average compliance score increased from 33% in 2024 to 56.2% in 2025, an improvement of the 23.2 percentage points. It also showed that 153 of Ghana's 261 MMDAs now meet or exceed the 50% compliance benchmark, up from just 12 assemblies a year earlier. Speaking at the event, the board chairman of CLG, Bernard Joe Appiah, says the objective of the league table is to empower the media as the fourth estate of the realm in disseminating information on the use and management of public funds.
From 2023, when it started, the number of assemblies that are scoring above the set average this year, last year it was 50%, has increased 153 out of the 261 assemblies. What we need to be cautious about is the gap between internal auditors and the external auditors, which the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament use. Because these are supposed to be reports that auditors have done their work from the audit service. So the gap there, we need to find out why.
The program manager of CLG, Herbert Apollo, noted that the 2025 report shows some improvements in developmental planning across MMDAs.
If you fail to implement the recommendations that internal auditors have identified or prefer to the various MMDAs, you'll be found out during the external audit assessment. That also come this year, realized that most of the district assembly that were in the top 10 dropped out of the top 10 positions because they were all cited in the Auditor General's report for series of infractions and then irregularities. That is captured in the Auditor General's report for 2025. We are encouraging them as we give them their various individual district reports to go through identify their weaknesses and then their gaps.
The assessment achieved 100% national coverage for the first time, with all 261 assemblies across Ghana's 16 regions assessed on 6 key public financial management pillars: development planning, composite budgeting, procurement and contracting, among others.
Now, renowned political economist and visiting professor at Soka University of America, Dr. Pa Kwesi Hoto, has challenged leaders on the African continent to negotiate and adopt multilateral cooperation agreements which advances the interests of the continent and makes Africa a force to reckon with in the world order. He made the remark during a presentation on African multilateralism and the evolving world order at the Legon Center for International Affairs.
The presentation touched on the need for Africa to take collective action and strengthening of regional cooperation to help deal with the many challenges that confront the continent. The political economist in his presentation cited reasons many African multilateral initiatives such as African Union Protocol on Free Movement of Persons, African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance, the 1991 Abuja Treaty, which pushed for a single African market, common currency, Continental Central Bank, among others, have made very little or no progress. Speaking on the sidelines, Dr. Pa Kwesi Hoto attributed African multilateral cooperation challenges to human and structural factors.
I believe that the multilateral agenda is one of those mechanisms that we can, make effective, or we can develop to help us gain the strategic autonomy we need in the international order. The order is, or the other ways we can do that, is to work with other countries, is to work with, our bilateral partners, to work with our...
Let's do more stories this afternoon as gender consultant Amina Alassan bin Sali has charged Ghanaian women, particularly Muslims, to continue to lead peace processes in their homes and communities to enhance national peace for a sustainable development. She made the call at the third place Peace Symposium organized by the Landna Imala Ghana, the national women wing of the Ahmadiyya Muslim group.
The symposium converged female religious leaders, gender advocates, peace-building experts, among others, to discuss ways in ensuring sustainable peace in the country. The event aimed at promoting religious tolerance and national cohesion amid growing global tensions and insecurity. Gender advocate Amina bin Sali touched on the need for female Muslims to be seen as embodiment of peace in all spheres of endeavor.
Women, as you know, are agents of change, and if women continue to talk to each other and then embrace peace and then talk to each other that they should all embrace peace, that will go far, because women sometimes can be very petty and then hold grudges and all that. But as we keep on hearing the word of God, we change. And when we change our children, and then we put them on the right path. Let us always give peace a chance. Yes. And let us be tolerant of each other. Different religions, different culture, different ethnic groups. We must learn to coexist peacefully.
National President for Lajina Imaila Ghana, Hajia Anissa Nasiruddin Idris, says promotion of interfaith is crucial to Ghana's development.
Quran admonishes us to coexist peacefully, and in the end, He is the best judge. So we don't judge anybody by your faith. We see ourselves as human, and what we are doing is for the cause of mankind. And so the most important thing for us at this moment is to collaborate with other women, fellow women of other faiths. My advice for Lajina women in particular is to team up together. Let's hold together all for the perpetuation of peace in the world. It's something that is part of our faith.
Executive Director for West African Network for Peace Building, Levina Ade-Mensah, touted the role of women in peace building.
Being here today, truly I have been reminded that irrespective of the religion, it is about how you are living and having based on a relationship you have with a God. That's the first thing. The second thing this important gathering has done for me is again highlighting the role of women. And not just the role of women as in we are to play, but it's the role of women as we are already playing, and how women are leading peaceful processes.
National President Folajina Imaila led a tour of exhibition booths which depicted books and flyers which promoted peace.
That'll be all for the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Helen Anyewejan. This month is standing by for more right after this break. Stay tuned.
The pulse of a nation, rising, unshaken. When the Black Stars take the world stage, we don't just play, we bring the storm. Fuel the dream. Support the Black Stars. Storm Energy Drink. Make your mark. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
As the days come and go, there's always shit. Let colleagues explore all the planetary bodies. Our mission is in Uranus to treat hemorrhoids, anal fistula, anal fissure, anal incontinence, hidradenitis suppurativa, using laser ligature for pain-free and speedy recovery. On Uranus Street, Accra, is Main Tuber Hospital and Coloproctology Center. Trust Uranus with us and we will delight you. Visit Main Tuber Hospital today or call us on 0244 581 541.
Madam, I'm looking for Abena.
Abena, there's someone looking for you.
Madam, please, where's Abena?
Abena, yes, ma'am. Is this who you are looking for?
Madam, please get me Abena. Please.
Della. Abena bra.
Oh, Abena. If it's not Abena rice, you can't eat any of that. More.
Abena rice. FDA
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, and who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to a mammy man for Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so by a man's ring, Nesansu Mama Hotoso, a will bedroom.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
This July, get ready for stories that will make your heart race. From love and passion to secrets and lies that can ruin everything. Catch the sizzling episodes of Sins and Roses at 4 p.m., Domenica Monteiro at 5 p.m., Be My Sunshine at 6 p.m., and Avenida Brazil at 7 p.m. Central African Time. Only on Novelas Plus, Channel 133 on DSTV.
Ghana, Greater Accra, Gamashi. Are you ready for the biggest festival carnival in Ghana? Is the Gahomor Carnival 2026. Starting from Thursday 6th to Sunday 9th of August 2026. The heartbeat of Ghana will echo from Jamestown, Manchabola flowing through the historic Atanos High Street back to Lighthouse. Witness and experience 4 unforgettable days, 1 historic destination. Gamashi, 6th August, Red Thursday, So Be. The legendary homecoming procession, 7th August, White Friday, Dress in white and experience the Twin Festival, culture, tradition and music. Saturday, 8th August, Homowa Red Saturday, the grand climax. Join thousands in the sea of red and display of royalty as Galhashi comes alive with spectacular sprinkling of popoi, followed by a mega concert featuring Ghana's biggest music stars. Sunday, Owala, come dressed in white. A day of thanksgiving, reconciliation and a powerful gospel concert to crown Homowa, celebrating 200 years of Katamanso. Date 6th to 9th August. Venue Jamestown, Manchabona. Crowd is calling. Gamashi is waiting. Don't just hear it. Come and live it. For vendorship slots, call.
Main Media Partners. Media Partners.
We are extremely disappointed in the outcome. In as much as we respect the decision of the court, we have our resentment to the land transactions are concerned, then you have to go to the Lands Act. And clearly the Lands Act was of assignment to be a written instrument, but we did not see it. And said clearly, once he has been convicted on assignment without mineral rights authorization, it's clearly mind-boggling, and I am not comfortable with this.
You describe this as mind-boggling.
Yes, mind-boggling.
To you, it is unfair. But let's talk about the processes of the trial itself. Would you say due process was followed?
I will reserve some for now.
Would you say the judge was fair and firm and just throughout the proceeding?
I wouldn't want to, with the circumstance I find myself now, I don't want to comment on some of the matters, but I believe that as a legal team of Mr. Benedict Bosiako will come out with his tax endorsement to speak on some of the matters that has gone on throughout the trial.
And that response points directly or hints directly of an appeal. Is that what I'm sensing?
Oh, certainly. Once you are aggrieved or dissatisfied by the outcome of the decision of the courts, the onus lie on you to file an appeal at the appellate court. Now, from the High Court, you can only go to the Court of Appeal. And from the Court of Appeal, if you are still dissatisfied, the rules of courts and the laws of the Republic allows you to go up to the Supreme Court. So we will consult with our clients and take their proceedings and go through and look at the reasoning of the courts and take a position as to the next step that we will take in furtherance of ensuring that the liberty of our client, now a convict, is secured.
And are we looking at trial, appeal against the sentence or the conviction itself, or both?
We will get there when the time comes, because we are yet to be finished with the judgment of the court, to go through the reasoning of the courts. And once we go through, you are a lawyer, sister, and you know that without going through the full judgment of the court, you cannot clearly point to the errors, if there is, or the miscarriage of justice, if there is, or the gaps in the judgment, if there is. So certainly we need the judgment of the court, the full judgment of the court, to be able to go through, reason out, compare same with the record of proceedings, and ensure that we as lawyers advise our clients in the next line of action to take. And certainly we will take an action in accordance with the rules of court, in accordance with the laws of the Republic of Ghana.
It's left with Mr. Wuntumi's lawyers to decide as to what to do next. The only thing I did in court was to plead for Mr. Wuntumi in terms of the sentencing. And it is not because it's Mr. Wuntumi, it's a very ordinary thing we all do in court, where if you believe that as a friend of the court you need to put in 1 or 2 for an accused person, we do it. And we do it not because we don't believe in the sentencing, we don't believe in the conviction, or we have issues with the conviction. As for the conviction, yes, it was all done, but it was the sentencing. So you remember what I said was that since the court itself has established that Mr. Wuntumi is the directing minds for most of his businesses, so it means that if the court keeps him in incarceration for long, his businesses are going to be affected. So the court should consider the fact that he's a businessman and he employs a lot of people directly and indirectly. So it was to the youth unemployment that could come as a result of his being away from his businesses. That was the only thing. I was just
that is what moved you.
I was just appealing to the mind of.
Are you in any way related to Mr. Wuntumi?
No, I am not.
Do you have any business dealing with Mr. Wuntumi?
My name is Bernard, so probably just by name, but I have no business with him. I had just come to court to listen, but I was just moved.
So this was just an officer of the court doing a job?
It is pure out of courtroom practice, where any person could get up as a friend of the court and put in some words in mitigation for an accused person who has been convicted. So it's not because I have any personal relationship with someone to me, and I'm not his lawyer on record. It was just out of normal court practice I did that.
That you rose to your feet to try to appeal to the court of the judge.
To just tamper justice with me.
So
I was hoping for the barest minimum of.
But what do you think? What do you think going forward? Should the lawyers go on appeal on this matter? And what would that barest minimum be for you?
I think don't matter now, because I'm not a lawyer on record for Mr. Wuntumi. I only did what a lot of lawyers do in court, that we try to intervene for an accused person who has been convicted. That is what I did.
So what is the barest minimum you expect the
as to what I expected the court to do, it is by law 15 years. So if the judge had given him the minimum, I would have been happy. But for all those things we have said, maybe he was going to get something. I don't know. I'm not in the mind of the judge. I feel that what we did, myself and the other lawyer, is very ordinary in the ways courts handle matters. So please let me go.
Thank you so much.
Right, welcome back from that break. This is Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro TV with me, Desmond Okreko. Welcome to live from our studios here at Northridge in Accra, and we're live on Facebook, Metro TV Ghana, also live on YouTube. We are live on the Metro TV Ghana, DSTV channel 277, and also on radio 94.21 FM. And of course, you saw there from the Accra High Court, and it's a big one today. As you know, that the breaking news is that the Ashanti Regional Chairman for the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Entubwe-Siakon, also known as Chairman Wuntumi, has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for each of the 2 counts of which he was convicted in the Akontam mining, illegal mining case. And the court has also fined Chairman Wuntumi 10,000 penalty units for each count. Akontam Mining Limited, which was also convicted on 2 counts, was fined 15,000 penalty units for each count. And Justice Audrey Kokuvite found Wontumi guilty on counts 1 and 4, while Akonta Mining Limited was convicted on counts 3 and 6 after ruling that the prosecution had proven all the essential elements of the offences beyond reasonable doubt. And this is about illegal mining situation in the Summerboy forest. And the conversation definitely goes on. My colleague Eko Sechisaki was at the High Court, and we'll be speaking to him in a bit. And then I would introduce my guest also on the table as we'll talk about this. And then we'll also take a look at the tribunal's case. A lot of people have said that the MPP's flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, should not have had his, his briefing or his speech to Ghanaians on this particular issue yesterday when we were preparing for the 2026 FIFA World Cup final. But it happened. And he said a few things. He's asking President Mahama not to assent to the bill. He says that there should be a national consensus on this, looking at the fact that Ghana has a history with tribunals and it's not a really good one. He also raised concerns about the fact that you're going to have ordinary Ghanaians, if you have it, with no proper law background being part of such tribunals, and it is very important that you have them, understanding properly the whole situation before being on such cases. And so asking President Mahama to make sure that there's a nationwide consensus on this. Whatever that he wants to do on this, he should not pass it for now. So we'll get into that conversation also in a bit. For now, we're going to my guest here, as and when Eko Sechisaki joins me here, we would have a conversation on that incident as we have it from Chairman Wontumi. So in studio here, I have Emmanuel Kutin. He's a security analyst and he is the executive director also for the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, and also Lom Nuku Alija. He's here. He's a lecturer at the Gimpa Faculty of Law and also joins me here. We've been talking often throughout last week on this, but he's here, so we have this conversation. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining me on a very hot Monday afternoon. In fact, there are a number of stories that should have been running, but Chairman Wotumi's case has overshadowed every one of them. The Education Minister had the Government Accountability Series where he outlined ways to end the double track system and also inclusive education. And we'll get into the other issues with Dr. Bawumia. So it's a lot of issues we're having on the table today to discuss. Let me begin with you, lawyer, as this is from the court. Let me begin with you. So prior to this, we're hearing a lot of things about jurisdiction in terms of today's judgment that Wotumi's lawyers say that they are not around. Something like, just give us a brief. We know all that has happened throughout the trial, but today being the very important one, what were they seeking to do before the judgment was delivered?
So, as we know, essentially the offences that Wontumi and his company are accused of, breaching are provisions related to the Minerals and Minings Act.
Okay.
Which, as you know, apart from the Criminal Offences Act, there are several other statutes that have provisions that are criminal in nature, which means that if you breach any of those provisions, you could face criminal liability. And this is one of those cases. So what they essentially have said was that there are certain provisions in that act which form the basis of the charges involving their clients, which in their view requires some interpretation by the Supreme Court. So they are saying essentially that the provisions that they have been charged under are provisions that have some interpretation issues. So halt everything, let's go to Supreme Court and come back, which, as you know, every provision of any statute or any law, any conduct which breaches the Constitution is unconstitutional, but it's only the Supreme Court that can make determination about interpretation.
Yes.
So you should hold on and let the Supreme Court hear our case, which means that they would have gone through the process, filed, done all those things, and then when the Supreme Court eventually gives its decision, its determination, it will inform what the High Court can do. But guess what? It's not every time you cry interpretation that a court should accept or agree with you. The reason is because otherwise then everybody will be raising interpretative issues at any point in time. Where the judge is clear in their mind that the provisions in question are not ambiguous. They don't raise any question of interpretation. As far as the judge is concerned, the judge obviously can make the decision that I'm not going to stay or hold position because I don't think that you will succeed even when you go to the Supreme Court because there's no interpretation issue. It is only when it is due for interpretation that the Supreme Court will give an interpretation which will not give all Ghanaians the true meaning or understanding of that particular provision. But if we, in this case, the judge is simply saying that there is no doubt about the meaning of these provisions. There is no interpretative issue. And so I won't halt while you go and deal with the interpretation question in the Supreme Court. I'll go ahead and give my judgment, which she has indeed done.
Now, the judgment is a 20-year prison sentence for Wontumi. We're talking about the reactions from everybody. 20 years. Your first remarks on that when you heard that?
Well, for every offense, depending on the status of the offense, there's a range of possible years that a court can grant. So if it's a felony, depending on whether it's a first-degree felony, second-degree felony, misdemeanor, and so on. So in this case, of course, we've only seen media reports of it. I haven't read the judgment yet. But in this case, just off at the top of my head, 20 years means that it reflects the type of charge it is, which in this case, I'm sure it's a felony.
Okay. Let me bring in Mr. Coutinho. And from the security angle, we've been talking about illegal mining in Galamsey, a threat to our society, to our environment, and all of that. Listening to all that has happened with this case, the judgment, and what this means for the fight against illegal mining.
Well, thank you very much, and very good afternoon to your cherished listeners. And to my good brother, I'm appearing on, I think, the first time together. In fact, I don't want to sound political at all. I think Galamsey is an existential threat, and we all agree that Galamsey is an existential threat facing you and I. So today, on the fight against Galamsey, it's a win for Ghana.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's a very bad day for the NPP. Look, let's be clear. Crime is crime. And this should send a signal to businessmen and women that they need to insulate business from political cover. Because when you tie your business to political cover and the day of accountability comes, you go in there alone. You see, you recall the recent flooding at
Summerboy, yeah.
The effect of that flooding was illegal mining.
Right.
The whole community was submerged underwater. So how can one single individual life matter than the rest of us? But I have a challenge. You see, when we are administering justice, it has to be equitable.
Okay.
It should not be selective. Because, and let me place it on record and give some commendation to the former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Abu Jinapo. I think he was the first to say that Akunta Mine had no license to do what they were doing.
Right.
And I think Mr. Ayisi, at the time, the Minerals Commission CEO, affirmed the same thing. This shows how courageous these two individuals were, given what is panning out today. Let us not play politics around every issue in this country. The facts should speak for itself. Chairman Wontumi was convicted by the courts. I dare not criticize the court. I've not even read the judgment yet. But there are other processes or avenues available to him. One of it is they can go on appeal, lawyer, right? Yes. But I want to appeal to His Excellency the President. Much as we commend him that justice is seen to be done in the case of Chairman Wontumi, what happens to the case that the Attorney General tasked Yoko to investigate in respect of the two NDC top kingpins? That report hasn't come out.
You're talking about Honorable Collins Dauda?
Exactly, and that of Joseph Yamin and the first national, is it the second national vice chairman of the NDC?
Okay.
They were alleged to be engaged in Galamsey. And they quickly put Ayoko to investigate them. What has happened to that?
In fact, the whole report from Professor Frimpong Boateng.
Even the Professor Frimpong Boateng's report names some politically exposed persons. What happens to them? Until these things are done, many people, and you know how politically charged this country has become. If you are not on the left, you are on the right. They will read political meaning into it. And you will see a lot of demonstration in the coming days in respect of Chairman Wontumi. And that would be very unfortunate for our democracy. Crime is crime. Once he has been convicted, right? Let's look at the other remedies. That's why I say, look, I'm not here to do politics. I'm here in the name of my organization as the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. And as a policy think tank, we have to be consistent with the issues we bring.
Right.
So I'm just appealing to the president. Let's see other things happening until I see that politically exposed persons in NDC are equally facing the law court. Some of us will take a step back and say that no, Chairman Wontumi has not been treated fairly, even in the face of the evidence. And let me tell you today, go to our Galamsey site. You saw videos that were abandoned when a community even stopped a politically exposed NDC person that do not allow him to go to his site. You saw that video. What did the investigative bodies do about it? If we are really serious about tackling Galamsey, I am for it as a Ghanaian, because everybody is at risk of illegal mining in this country, but it should not be selective.
Okay, so lawyer, just with the counts, assignment of mineral rights without ministerial approval, guilty for that, as we know. Count 4, purposely facilitated the contravention of the act, guilty. The third accused, assignment of mineral rights without ministerial approval, guilty. And there was a confirmation of that from the head of legal affairs from the Minerals Commission, saying that and purposely facilitating the contravention of the act, illegal mining activity, also guilty. And so let me cross over to my colleague Eko Sechisaki, who was at the court this morning. Eko, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Just share with us what you observed at the court today. Hello, Eko. Okay, so Eko Sechisaki is unable to hear me. Hello, Eko, can you hear me? Okay, so when Eko comes back on, we'll talk about that. But lawyer, back to you on what happened in court. So there's a part of the reports that we have that the Justice Kokuviti found that the company did not operate through a functional board of directors, and that Wontumi exercised effective control over its mining activities. For a company such as Akonta Mining and what it's done, and even the companies have the board of directors, you don't have a functioning one, and one man, as we know, doing all of this. It is such a heinous one to think that one person has so much control to be doing all of this in our country.
It may appear interesting, or perhaps, as you said, all these things, one person. But to be honest with you, that's how most businesses are operating in Ghana, especially when they are incorporated. You are expected to have a board of directors. Right. By law, you must have a minimum of 2, at least 1 resident director. There are companies who have 2, they have 5, they have 8, but they are not functioning as the law requires, or as corporate governance requirements will have you go about it. So there are many times when those names may be there on paper, but in reality, it is one person who's really directing the affairs of the company. And in law, even from a company law perspective, even though you hold those whose names are there also liable, depending on a specific set of facts and circumstances and so on, the law also allows for recognition of even somebody who's not named as a de facto director, because essentially the person is controlling the business, even though their name is not even there. But in this case, we know that Wuntumi's name is there as well. But the judge made a finding that even though there were other members, there's a board on paper. Essentially, it's a one-man show. And it's not surprising because Wuntumi was a political actor,
right?
If you get it. So basically, everybody's working for him, which means that he may be the controlling mind of the company. He directs, go and see this person, go and see that person if you need this or money and all of that. But there are people who are executing things on the ground. I've seen reports which talk about the fact that, because you see, let's also take a step back and focus on the fact that the charges related to illegal mining and assigning of mineral rights without permission, which means that it's about, did you have the requisite documentation, approvals, to do the mining? If you don't, that's what we call illegal mining. So it's very simple. To know whether somebody's mining activities are legal or illegal, it's about whether you have a license to do so. And if you do have the license, whether you are complying with your license conditions. Sometimes we perhaps may not have conceptualized this, but when you are given a license, it's not one paper. It's like a book. Yes. So you will see that when you go to any of, let's say, a mining company's office, they may have at their reception just the certificate.
Yes.
But behind that certificate is like a book. Essentially, it gives you the terms and conditions of that license, duration, what you can do, what you can't do, what authorizations required before you can do certain things. And in this case, we are even talking about reclamation of the site and whether it was done and so on and so forth. The judges made a finding that on the evidence presented, it was clear that the place was being used to undertake mining activities which were not authorized. Beyond that also, even though there was a mining license involved, that mining license was assigned without authorization as well, which you cannot do. Anytime you have to transfer interest in any mining right, whether it's mineral rights, whether it's a reconnaissance, what have you, you require authorization of the minister before you can do so. And the reason is very simple. Policy reason behind it is that at any point in time, the regulator, that's Minerals Commission, and the minister responsible for mining, who actually signs off ultimately, must know at any point in time who is the controlling person or persons behind any mining activity. So you can't transfer or assign either without the authorization. And in this case, the judge from the report made a determination that for all intents and purposes, Wuntumi was in charge of this company, even though there may be other people on paper as, you know, so that's why it says that she lifted the veil. Now, we also know from the charges that there's some that were directed at him as a person, and then the company also. Yes. And in law, a company also can be found guilty. And when the company is found guilty, what it means is that the directors are the ones who will be personally held liable. And he's also a director, together with a few other people. So for me, this is what we've been talking about.
Okay. Right. Lawyer, we have some reactions coming in from the New Patriotic Party on this one. So we're going to play that. And when I come back, I would ask from the Ashanti region. That would be interesting to watch. And when we come back, I'll ask,
that's why we said the politics.
How committed do you think the AG and the government is to fighting the Galamsey and every other issues pertaining issues that came up in terms of oral? Yes. So let's take a look at the reactions from the Ashanti region, from the NPP.
Both the committee are moving spirit. So we are not looking at that, but we are all looking, say, justice a bit prevail. So what you say? So, what we are sentencing to 20. And I make us say, I want to hear from the lawyer, his lawyers. Until after sending lawyers about. As a party, we know what we also have to do. Say what you say. Because some people were in jail. Some people were in jail, but President Dramani Mahama were pardoned. Say what you say. So it will be very, good for John Mahama say, obey my pardon. None anymore you make it. Now you can say what you say. because we are father for all there. Now we are assemblies in India. Abuphobia baby Yemfante, Yempadil.
But your partner is it going to be settled?
Open so they make now when own emissary. Omo Mukodizika Yampadin. With a man to us and can't fail by Sassan. What can you do?
Afa omoka ntimi ankasa de sade obia onim sade wontumi yebine nti asam na bomi kusa let me put it in short na afei na ma free fee obia esu ho nti be free ha we make na afei de obia and we see the next line of action the abusiano so yebe faso na ya
chairman is going to
make na me wo so nti news no de I have not heard the sentence from her unless I go back. Then
it's 20 years.
That's a harsh. Very know that the offense that they charged him with. I think it was between 1 to 25. So maybe the judge decided to do that. I don't want to speculate. You let me get to the lawyer, get the nitty-gritties, then I can speak to you based on what I've heard.
Easy on me. Me standing here, you can see that I'm shaking. It has not been easy on me. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any background concerning issue of lawyer and anything outside of legal issues. So I just put that on hold. What we have is that our people are talking about it. We have leadership. I'm part of the leadership, but we have those who know much. I think they will deal with the issue at the appropriate time. I just pray that may the Almighty Allah grant him the safest, modest punishment that he deserves. And the government should look at it again. We're all politicians, and we are all human beings. We can err somewhere along the line. So they should also look at it at that point. And I know, inshallah, things will not be well with him.
You see the 20 years as very harsh.
I say, inshallah, Allah, I am a Muslim. I'm also a believer, not an other Muslim. I am a tried Muslim. Allah knows whatever he's doing at any point of time in anybody human life. We can die today, we can die tomorrow. And anything can happen to anybody at any time. That's why if you are a Muslim, you say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So it ends that place. Allah knows best. And I know in his way, he will know how to deal with this issue for us. Let me not forget, I'm on the number 1 on the ballot paper. Nobody should forget that one.
Right, so those are some reactions from the Ashanti region, where you saw some members of the New Patriotic Party in the region sharing their thoughts on the situation in terms of the judgment placed on Chairman Wontumi, 20 years in prison for the offense of illegal mining. And Eko Sechisaki is back. Eko, share with me what you observed at the courts this afternoon.
Very well, Desmond Okekudan. So at the moment, the forecourt of the court complex is relatively calm compared to some few minutes ago where the verdict was given, where I saw quite a number of the sympathizers of Bernard Entwibwe-Esiako. I saw quite a number of the NPP supporters and also family members of Bernard Entwibwe-Esiako leaving the courtroom, and they were very dejected. They were quite unhappy with the ruling by the court. Today in court, I realized that Bernard Entwibwe-Esiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, was very quiet in the witness box throughout the entire proceeding before the verdict was given. And we also know that before the verdict was given, the lawyers of Bernard Entwibwe-Esiako filed an application seeking to delay the judgment because they have filed a constitutional interpretation at the Supreme Court, which has to do with some interpretation to a section of the Minerals Act, on which forms the basis for his conviction. So they were asking the court to hold on with the ruling until that interpretation has been done, which the court spiked that application out and went ahead to deliver the judgment. And so for today in court, I can say that almost everyone who came to support Bernard Entwibwe-Esiako was quite, they were not happy with the number of years that Entwibwe-Esiako Bernard Ejubosiaku was sentenced, aside the 20-year jail, aside the 20-year prison sentence, he was also fined 10,000 Ghana cedis on each of the 2 counts that he was convicted on. That is count 1 and also count 2, which clearly indicated that he went ahead to mine without the necessary license, and also he engaged in the felling of trees in forest reserve without any authority to do that. I'll be speaking to, at the moment, as I told you earlier, the place is quite calm because most of the people have left the court premises. But I have social media activist Ralph St. Williams, popularly known as Ralph the fellow Ghanaian, and he was in the courtroom throughout the entire proceedings. And we know the kind of works he's been doing, and also some of the activism he's been participating with regards to the fight against illegal mining. I'll be engaging him pretty shortly to find out what he makes of the ruling and also the court proceedings today. Ralph, you're live on Message Television.
Well, thank you, and good afternoon to your listeners globally, home as well.
First of all, I saw you in the courtroom. You were in the courtroom throughout the entire proceeding. What do you make of the verdict? Is it one that you expected 20 years in prison?
I think that the court was clear about their jury, and when people are raising concerns about it being politically whatever, but then we have our legal frame structures being put in place on things that needs to be punished and things that needs to be pardoned. I was in court, yes, like you said, and we all admit that there were some lawyers who rose up to plead on the behalf of the Asante Regional Chairman Ejubosiaku Untuli, as being a father and being a company manager or CEO or whatever. I think that anybody who engages in any criminality must be dealt with by the law, as the former president called it when we were arrested for engaging in protests that was even constitutional, in demanding that the government put more attention on people who are destroying our water bodies and our environment. So the laws have been explicitly stated right, and the court actually read through their evidences and everything put together to be able to conclude that this is the punishment he deserves to be given to him. Don't forget, this country's mineral resources have been vested in the hands of the government, and that if any individual identifies any mineral anywhere and wants to go in and mine it, it is very right and fair that the government must give this person a permit, as the person has requested for a license to go out there and mine. So if anybody steps out there and do anything in accordance of what the law provides to make sure that people do mining in this country, then
right. So my colleague Eko Sechisaki there telling us what happened at the court complex today, and speaking to Ralph there. So we're going to wrap up on the Wontumi conversation, and then we talk about the tribunal's bill. Last week we began a conversation on it. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia yesterday also talked about it, and then we'll end with a petition that's been sent over to the International Criminal Court. And one of the people who joined in the petition, one is at the court complex, not too happy this morning, and I'm talking about Dr. Paul Gribuache Dankwa and Emmanuel Kuti. We'll talk about that before we wrap up on the show. So I was asking that, Mr. Kuti, on this one, many people were concerned about the number of cases that the NDC had mentioned that they were working on, and especially with oral, and how slow they thought it had become. Does this give it any boost of a sort that they would see through these cases?
See, ORA came off as a political campaign tool.
Right.
And what I realized is that they sort of hit the snag with certain evidence. And you know, in criminal jurisprudence, the game is evidence. I think that is what have slowed down the process. Because if you look at the report that was presented by Honorable Kujato and his team, to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, many of us thought that by now
a lot of people should be
a lot of people should. So this shows how we should disentangle political manifesto messages from our justice jurisprudence.
Okay.
Because when you make it look as if and prosecute people in the public court of opinion as if they are already guilty before they are put before the law court, it's not proper. You remember what the Attorney General did when he started a series of bringing the cases after the cases. We were quite happy and agitated. All of this, of a sudden, it is gone off.
Even the ones with Hanan, the ones with Dubois, lots of people are not really seeing what's happening with them.
But there were quite a lot he promised to come back to us with, and he didn't. So I think that the cardinal principle of presumption of innocence unto proven guilty must stand in all of this, so that we don't damage people's reputation when their children in school cannot even raise their hairs and stuff like that. I have my daughter in a school with one of the accused person, and she was telling me how traumatized the girl is.
Okay.
Because she comes to school and say, hey, they say your father is this, your father stole this money. So you see the psychology around it. So let's put politics aside. Crime is crime, and let's prosecute crime. And you see, corruption is the bane of our underdevelopment. You agree with me? The president recently went for $300 million from the World Bank. I think they are signing this thing that underpins what the education minister came to say today. They're going to move away from the double track to the single track system. Are you telling me that if you need $300 million from the alleged loot from politically exposed person, we cannot get that in the billions? So as citizens, let us be concerned, especially the young ones. Don't let us run and converge and shout because we want no good few. When people were doing their things, you were not even there. And I say this with reference to the Miracles Abuaji's case when they had to bring these ghetto boys. And these ghetto boys really needed help.
They say they are members of the NPP.
They are members of the NPP. When he went to visit them, what did he say? He said, from now, their family, which is an indication they didn't even know one another. And lawyer, I think a time has come, and I think NCC should take a lead role in this, with support from government, to let citizens understand what corruption is really doing to the entire well-being of the country. You understand? Such that when politically exposed persons are accused of something, we don't trivialize it in the lens of politics and massing up in the name of politics. That is not good for our democracy. Otherwise, criminals will hide under political colors and perpetuate crime, knowing very well that political parties, as usual, will match up and make some noise. And if they are not able to secure their release, power, as we always say, is transient. Is that not it?
Yes.
And the stage of government, you have, the leeway to go out. But let this also be a caution to all of us. When you take political office, the day of accountability begins from then. And we must also be conscious as Ghanaians that no individual is above the laws of this country, not even the president.
Right.
My only challenge is that when we are exercising our or delivering justice, it should be equitable and not selective.
Right.
So I'm looking up to the president. I want to see, and I'm challenging the Attorney General. Galamsey is still going on. And politically exposed persons in this government are alleged to be engaged in those things. We want to see them also brought before the court, just like they brought Chairman Untumi. But my final stake on this case is that, look, counsel, let's call it what it takes. Sometimes lawyers advise your clients appropriately. Because if you look at Chairman Untumi's lawyers, when they handle the cases, they come from court and give press statements, speak to the press, as if everything was okay. And preparing the minds of Ghanaians as if something untoward may be the opposite if it doesn't go its way. Look at today's judgment. I have not seen it, but all the 6 counts. And I understand an accomplice are large. Why did the accomplice run away? And his own manager testified against him. So Chairman Wontumi should have been conscious that a day like this will come. Look, in one of your sister stations, I argued, like the lawyer did when they were doing mitigation over a lesser sentence, that look, we are crying about youth unemployment. Chairman Wontumi has a lot of businesses. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be convicted, but they should consider that as mitigating factors when the sentence is being given. Because if these jobs are affected, what happens? The people come home, and government is not in any position to provide these people these jobs. So apart from Wontumi going to jail, so many livelihoods are at stake now.
Yeah,
but
that's,
all in all,
true.
like I said, it is a good news for our fight against Galamsey, but it's bad news for politicians who hide under power.
Lawyer, so I talked about the government trying to sort a lot of these issues in terms of corruption and in terms of illegal activities that have
to every citizen of Ghana is guaranteed those rights. In fact, even foreigners in Ghana are guaranteed those rights under our constitution. So you have a right to challenge every step of the way what is happening in court. So you will see, for example, that in this case, there have been many applications that have been filed by lawyers. In the Dubai case, it has happened. Some have gone to Supreme Court for determination and come down. Some are on appeal, interim applications, and so on. And all of that is part of the law. You have procedural safeguards. In other words, every decision of a judge, if it's interim decision, you can challenge it on an interim basis. When it is final, like today's sentence, you can challenge it as well. It's also part of your rights. When you are in court, the amount of time that the court must allow you to be able to prepare your defense, to cross-examine, is all part of your rights. So if somebody says, oh, this case, how come last year we haven't convicted anybody? Yes, it's because even the sheer number of adjournments required, time for the accused person to meet their lawyers, prepare their defense, find documents, is all part of your rights as a citizen. So you can't rush and convict somebody within a month. The person has a right to be given time to prepare their case, to engage their lawyers, to find witnesses who will testify for them, find documents that will support their case. And so justice cannot be rushed in that sense. But even this, I think, is a win, because this case started sometime last year, and we are in 2026, it's done. There are some that, there are cases I know, if I'm handling cases personally, that are over 5 years are not done. So you know that sometimes it can be quick, the other times it can be slow. It all depends on the specific charges at play, the specific strategies of the lawyers, the issues at stake, what the complexity, all of those things.
Okay.
You see, for example, that these charges are, if I should say, pretty simple and straightforward. If you are illegal, if you say somebody is engaging in illegal mining, it means the person is not mining with a license that shall receive from the Energy Commission. Do you have it or not?
I don't have it.
If you have it, are you complying with the terms and conditions? Did you assign it without authorization? These are things that, so perhaps that is why we have been able to get to the end of this one quickly. You will see also that, for example, the Republic versus Edubuahin case is taking a bit longer. There have been a bit of back and forth on issues. Some have gone to Supreme Court and come back. So for me, the Attorney General is doing the work the best of their ability. And the accused persons have every right to resist every step of the way as well. So we should expect that some of the cases will be quick and others will be slow.
So we're expecting an appeal on this. Would you think?
Absolutely, I'm sure there will be appeal. And I was making this point offline that because the cases have been mixed with politics, sometimes we should understand that some of the activities that we see have a political dimension. So, for example, the Chairman Wontumi side may appeal because they want to be given an opportunity to see if they can overturn the judgment. Or sometimes the party may even have to support them to do so because they have to send a signal that they are doing something. Even if they can see that the judgment is solid, then it will be difficult to overturn it on appeal. And that brings to the fore some of the things that happened prior to this point. When Chairman Wontumi was first arrested, people rushed to Yoko, went to mass up there and were demonstrating and so on. At that time, when you are demonstrating, what are you demonstrating against? You don't know the charges, you don't know the facts, the basis. And the reason they do that is because it has simply become a matter of politics. Once this person is in my party, we have to rush and go and support them. What are you supporting? Are you supporting corruption? Are you supporting galamsey or illegal mining and so on? And the reason is because at that point, you wouldn't know the facts. So let's let the institutions of state work. Attorney General should do his part by prosecuting people that he believes have breached laws. And accused people have every right to also defend themselves. And in this case, the court has said that beyond reasonable doubt, the prosecution have proved their case. Essentially, that's what has happened.
Okay, so that will be our take on this one. We'll see how it goes from there. We have two more topics quickly. I'll take the thoughts of my guest in here. But more importantly, from the petition that's been taken to the ICC, we'll talk about that. But a quick one, just a few minutes on the tribunal's bill. It's come out. Dr. Bawumia says that presidents do not assent to the bill because it is one that we need to review, one that we need to have everybody's thoughts on it before you can assent to it.
And the third reading was waived so that the bill could be passed on the same day. The minority's objections were voted down. Organized labor objected loudly and publicly, but was ignored. The bill will soon be transmitted to the President for his assent. I have one respectful request of President Mahama. Mr. President, do not assent to this bill. Pause and let the nation ponder and deliberate on this very important matter. Above all, Mr. President, reflect on the historical antecedents of the public tribunal system. Under this bill, panels that include persons who are not lawyers may sit in judgment over criminal matters. Ghanaians remember tribunals, and we remember what was done in their name. Our courts are congested, yes, but the answer to congested courts is to strengthen the courts, more judges, more courtrooms, and digitized processes. It is not to build a second system of justice. Mr. President, your government commands one of the largest majorities in the history of the Fourth Republic. With such numbers, Parliament can pass almost any bill it wishes. My call is therefore simple and constructive. Withhold your assent. Convene genuine national engagement. Invite the Ghana Bar Association and other lawyers groups, organized labor, civil society, and the political parties, including my own. We will come in good faith and consult the judiciary itself, the institution that must live with whatever Parliament creates.
Right, so Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the flag bearer for the New Patriotic Party, who spoke last night on the tribunal's bill, and the Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism has also released a statement on that. And I'm going to ask Mr. Kutin a brief one on that. You're saying that justice reform must be sequenced, consulted, and safeguarded. Does that mean you agree with what Dr. Bawumia says?
Yes, I think that this is what responsible opposition means, to speak on matters of or on issues that affect all of us. So as a nonpartisan policy think tank devoted to security, justice, and democratic resilience, we have this considered opinion. One, we feel that the objective of the tribunal is legitimate. Even if you look at our constitution, it's even enshrined there. And the Attorney General's own statement that indeed our courts are congested and they need to expedite action on some of these cases is also a legitimate concern. Because more often than not, it is the rural folk and the poor who don't have the money to go through long legislative processes, and the tribunal, in the considered opinion of the government, was to overlook some of these things. But let's ask ourselves, lawyer, the tribunal system was enshrined in our constitution, the dark days of the PNDC. For what reasons did we run away from the tribunal system? Are those fears and factors been fixed? The second thing we are looking at that is that, legitimate as it may be, we feel that the process has undermined the product. Because you remember the president set out the Constitutional Review Committee, right?
Right.
And their report is even yet to come out. But the intelligence we got is that they even recommended removing the regional tribunals. So this is our challenge. Why do you legislate ahead of your own review? So if you are legislating ahead of your own review, you are simply legislating against it. And in the spirit of democracy, we feel that that is not right. We are talking about laws that will bind on each and every one of us.
Right.
So we feel that it shouldn't be rushed. And the third challenge as an organization we have was the Clause 4. I think it requires sober reflection, especially when you have citizens who don't have legal background to sit on criminal matters. There's a gray element around that area, and that's why many people are crying about the dark days of the PNDC. So in a democracy, you see that what we did in 1992, we are doing it differently in 2026. So it means that it's a democracy in progress. We are improving upon what we had. You understand?
Okay.
So if we are going back to what we had, then it should be in simple, plain languages so that everybody can understand and those fears are eliminated, especially when labor groups like the TUC is against this. It doesn't become a political issue now. You understand? We feel that it is an issue the president should look at. And I want to thank His Excellency, the former president, vice president, for adding his voice to this.
Okay.
I appeal to the president to have a look at it. Because of time, we had some recommendations, and you have the...
I really want you to touch on the ICC.
Oh, okay.
So let's wrap up
so
on this.
we wrap up on this. So the recommendation was what the former vice president said. The president should pause the assent and refer the bill for broader national consultation. We don't need to rush the bill.
Right.
And then the Attorney General should also come out in plain language. You know, you lawyers, your language are not the language we understand. That's why they call you people learned friends and colleagues.
So they need to come out and...
people like me, sitting in Makola, I can understand what it is. That's the beauty of democracy.
Truth is, if you are sitting at Makola, then you should understand that. Anyway, lawyer, just a quick one on this. 2 minutes, we have to go on a break and come back and talk about the ICC.
All right. So I think on this one, I disagree with Mr. Kutins in a significant way. You see, for example, today, our constitution essentially says that justice emanates from us as people of Ghana. In fact, what the judiciary does is to administer justice on behalf of the people of Ghana. And one of the things that it says in Article 125 is the fact that when the people, as ordinary citizens, we have a right to participate in that justice system through jury system, through the assessor system, and through public tribunals. Today, ordinary citizens are jurors. Today, ordinary citizens are assessors. They are practically in the judicial system and currently working. What is the limitation or halt in having public tribunals? Now, the public tribunals of the PNDC era is different from what is under the Constitution. In fact, when the Constitution put public tribunals in 92, when we adopted this particular Constitution, we said to ourselves that we are going to give it a jurisdiction and an area of focus or cover which is consistent with the Constitution itself. So when we talk about dark days of the PNDC or things that were the bad aspects of the public tribunals from those days, it's precisely what the Constitution sought to do by putting it in here with the constitutional safeguards. In fact, because it is provided for in the Constitution, just like the High Court or Court of Appeal or Supreme Court, it is at the same standard of scrutiny and accountability that any of these courts have. In the US, for example, they use jury system not only for criminal, for even civil. In Ghana, we use it for only civil, not criminal. Whether you're in the US or Ghana, it's still citizens participating in justice delivery. For many, many years in Ghana, we had what we used to call the career magistrates. Judges who were at the very lowest level of the courts, which is the magistrate courts, who were not lawyers. They have not been to school, law school. But they were trained in enough knowledge for what they require for that job. And they have dispensed justice for years. So for me, if we look at this bill, let's not go into the name, the title, because we had it in the 80s, we shouldn't have it now. What is the form? In fact, the bill itself in the memorandum explains that there were some challenges with it under the military era. Right. And so in this particular draft, we are solving. Yes, so let's look at the details. For me, I think we should, if we have time, we can go into the details.
We don't have time. Yes. So let's go for a break. When we come back, we'll touch on the ICC petition and then wrap up on the show.
The pulse of a nation, rising, unshaken. When the Black Stars take the world stage, we don't just play, we bring the storm. Fuel the dream. Support the Black Stars. Storm Energy Drink. Make your mark. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Today's class is going to be an exciting one. Now, who can share an unforgettable moment in their life? Okay, Asempa.
I'd like to talk about my first time. It was her natural look, complemented by her favorite green silky apparel that caught my attention. I have to say, she automatically possessed me with her smile, which exposed her beautiful white teeth. That's not all, her enduring signature perfume could be smelled from afar. Madam, why do you look so surprised? My first time with her was special and irresistible. I'm talking about Cindy Rice. Cindy Rice can be found in selected supermarkets nationwide.
Cindy Rice, sweet aroma, great taste. This advert is FDA approved.
Finding my dream apartment in just 2 days was a breeze with 7terragh.com. Looking for your next home, the perfect piece of land, or the best commercial property for your business? Are you worried about sending money home for property and finding nothing when you return? Well, worry no more. 7terragh.com is just a platform to find prime lands, perfect properties, or vibrant real estate development at the click of a button. 7terragh.com is your go-to property listing platform that allows you to register, list, rent, buy or sell, and connect with correct agents. With our AI-powered smart search, personalized dashboards, verified agent connection, and interactive property maps, all your property needs have been made easier. Check us out on 7terragh.com or contact us on 0302-998-246 or 0561 032 252. 7terragh.com, powered by MNC Properties.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Kel Charcoal toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to Amame Manfo, Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so buying, and Maniswing, Nesasu Mama Hoto so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Ghana, Greater Accra, Gamashi. Are you ready for the biggest festival carnival in Ghana? Is the Gahomor Carnival 2026. Starting from Thursday 6th to Sunday 9th of August 2026. The heartbeat of Ghana will echo from Jamestown Manchabola, flowing through the historic Atanos High Street back to Lighthouse. Witness and experience 4 unforgettable days, 1 historic destination. Gamashi, 6th August, Red Thursday, so be the legendary homecoming procession. 7th August, White Friday, yeah. Dress in white and experience the Twin Festival, culture, tradition, and music. Saturday, 8th August, Homowa Red Saturday, the grand climax. Join thousands in the sea of red and display of royalty as Galhashi comes alive with spectacular sprinkling of popoi, followed by a mega concert featuring Ghana's biggest music stars.
Sunday, Owala,
come dressed in white.
A day of thanksgiving, reconciliation, and a powerful gospel concert to crown Homowa, celebrating 200 years of Katamanso.
Date 6th to 9th August. Venue Jamestown
Manchabona. Crowd is calling. Gamashi is waiting. Don't just hear it.
Come and live it. For vendorship slots, call.
Main Media Partners. Media Partners.
Welcome back. We've got to wrap up with the show real quick. Let me just get to Emmanuel Kutin and so he can tell us about this petition to the International Criminal Court on the happenings in South Africa regarding the xenophobic attacks we've been seeing in the country. Mr. Kutin, the next 2 minutes.
Because of time, in fact, we all know what has happened in South Africa in recent past. So we came under Article 7 of the Rome Statute, specifically Article 7.1a, which talk about murder, 7.1k, which talk about other human acts intentionally causing great suffering, and Article 7.1d, deportation or forcible transfer of population. And we went further to look at command responsibility of the state under Article 28 of the Rome Statute. We feel that the weight of the state couldn't have allowed 2 individuals to organize and do what they did. And you agree, even as a country, we lost one of our citizens we had a lot of our citizens who lost their entire livelihood, businesses, and the inhuman treatment they went through, and other African countries as well. So if you look at the evidence we presented to ICC, I think we had about 10 people who lost their lives as a result of the actions or the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. So I'm happy the government, through our Foreign Affairs Minister, is going through the Reparatory Act, and ECOWAS and African Union is backing, saying no single country in Africa should have impunity to do the things
What do you want
Africa
them to do?
did.
What do you want ICC to do?
Well, our recommendation is that they should investigate the president himself and other state actors whose action or inaction might have led to this, because the president received these two individuals at the seat of government, and I think that it is not proper. In the spirit of Pan-Africanism, Mbutu, you are because I am, and that is what has brought us here. And they shouldn't forget how apartheid was eradicated in South Africa.
Okay. Right, so it's himself and Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa who sent this petition, and we have to wrap up. Lawyer, we have to wrap up. I'm unable to give you time. Please forgive me. Or maybe just a 30 seconds bit on this one.
Well, I think the petition is in the right direction, and it supports the government's efforts. So complementary efforts to get it done.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. The NPP is going to hold an emergency meeting regarding the judgment delivered in the case on Chairman Wontumi, and that was put up by Justin Frimpong, Kudia Frimpong, General Secretary of the party. So the party will communicate its official position and decisions arising from the deliberations in due course. Emmanuel Cotton is Executive Director of Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, and Lom Nuku Alija is a lawyer. He's a lecturer at Gimpa Faculty of Law. My name is Desmond Okreko. Many thanks for watching the show. Have a good afternoon.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Welcome to GH Schools, your #1 training institute that offers practical-based tuition in media and a variety of skill acquisition-related areas. At GH Media School, we offer journalism and media studies, journalism and media arts, TV and film production, and multimedia production. Also, you are assured of the best beauty training with GH Cosmetology School. We offer training in massage and body therapy, makeup artistry, hair technology. Realize your dream of becoming an astute fashion designer with GH Fashion School. Here, we offer training in bridal wear, suits, ladies and men's wear, children's wear, and millinery. Do you have the interest of preparing sumptuous and tasty foods that meet local and international standards? Then, GH Catering School is the best place for you. We offer training in cookery, pastry and beverage production, events decoration, and hotel management. Be abreast with the current technological trends as you train with GH Technology School. We offer computer systems, hardware and software, CCTV installation, home security, and many more. GH Schools makes available well-equipped studios and workstations to give our learners the practical and industrial standard experience during tuition. Hostel facilities are also available. Instant admission is in progress. Register now. Purchase your admission forms online on Locate us at Achimota Abofu Junction, opposite the Shell filling station. You can also contact us on 0544 622 250, 0577 622 250, 0204 622 250, and 0277 622 250. GH Schools. We say train, practice, achieve.
Are you ready to go on an adventure across Africa with your favorite twins? Yes, that's right. Nuzo and Namia are back. Join them on curious adventures full of wonder and discovery, unexpected friendships, big feelings, and stories that unlock the power of imagination. And for parents, every episode helps your children build literacy, comprehension, emotional learning, and confidence through storytelling they love. So come dream bigger, laugh louder, and explore a world of wonder with Nuzo and Namia. Find your nearest station and showtimes now at nuzoandnamia.com. Bye for now.
Nuzo and Namia, storytellers traveling with you.
Ghana, Greater Accra, Gamashi. Are you ready for the biggest festival carnival in Ghana? Is the Gahomor Carnival 2026. Starting from Thursday 6th to Sunday 9th of August 2026. The heartbeat of Ghana will echo from Jamestown Manchabola, flowing through the historic Atanos High Street back to Lighthouse. Witness and experience 4 unforgettable days. One historic destination, Gamashi. 6th August, Red Thursday, So Be. The legendary homecoming procession. 7th August, White Friday, Yeah Yeah Yeah. Dress in white and experience the Twin Festival, culture, tradition and music. Saturday, 8th August, Homowa Red Saturday. The grand climax. Join thousands in the sea of red and display of royalty as Galhashi comes alive with spectacular sprinkling of popoi, followed by a mega concert featuring Ghana's biggest music stars. Sunday, Owala. Come dressed in white. A day of thanksgiving, reconciliation, and a powerful gospel concert to crown Homowa, celebrating 200 years of Katamanso. Date 6th to 9th August. Venue Jamestown Manchabona. Crowd is calling. Gamashi is waiting. Don't just hear it. Come and live it. For vendorship slots, call.
Main media partners. Media partners.
Metro TV. Insightful and inspiring moments.
The US military says it has carried out airstrikes against Iran for the 9th night in a row. The aim is to degrade Iranian military capabilities. Kuwait's army said it intercepted Iranian drone attacks after civilian infrastructure was hit. The war between the US and Iran has been escalating.